If you're a software engineer working hard, shipping features, fixing bugs, but still wondering why it feels so hard to get promoted, trust me, I have been there too. I have spent the last few years at Amazon, Microsoft, leading high impactful projects to support millions of users and navigating through major reworks and layoffs. And in the middle of all, I didn't just survive, but I also got promoted multiple times. And here's the thing, it wasn't because I work harder. It was because I figured out how the game actually works. And that's what I want to share with you today. If you're feeling stuck, or if you're feeling the pressure of your career plateaus, or just wondering how to break through to the next level, this video is for you. I'm going to share with you 4 key lessons that helped me to get promoted multiple times in my career despite of the market. And here's what we're going to cover in this video. First thing first, we're going to cover why doing more work doesn't always mean that you will get promoted at the end. Then we're also going to take a look at one single habit that saved me tons of time during my performance review, and how to take actions on designing our own career plan. And lastly, we're also going to take a look at how to build trust and visibility so that when promotion season comes around, your name carries the weight. So if you're interested for this video, let's dive in. And the first one we're going to talk about is going to be focusing on high impactful projects. And the core idea is this: the value of your work isn't about how much you do, but it's actually about how much impact you make. Now, early in my career, I found myself constantly fixing bugs, writing tons of code, and checking off tickets very fast. And I thought I was doing well by closing so many tasks or tickets, but over time, I realized that most of the stuff that I was doing could be done by anyone. And it wasn't changing anything long term because the root problem wasn't fixed. It kind of feels like being the person who constantly mops the floor in a building with a leak ceiling. Now sure, the floor might look clean for a while, but unless someone fixes the actual leaks, the floor will continue to get dirty again. So how can we be able to spot this? Well, believe it or not, these problems exist in our daily works every day. These could be problems that are recurring problems with the same patterns that we see, like the on-call engineers who keep getting these alerts on the on-call rotation. Instead of just closing the tickets, and maybe we should decide to find the root cause and be able to take action on solving it. Or maybe you are working on a project which depends on another team's, and the across team is currently taking a obstacle or currently blocked on something. Then instead of just saying that, well, this is their problem, maybe we can be able to offer help and be able to debug together to define a clear expectation and work with their teams to fix it. Or maybe it could be like, typically when we try to build a new project from scratch, repeating the same work, maybe we can be able to spot the patterns by building a template, and we can be able to automate this to basically speed up the process from building something from scratch. And this could be like a dev environment or a standard CI/CD pipeline, which helps the team to build projects much more faster, much more productive, and future projects can be able to move quicker. Or it can also be like refactoring a legacy code, which oftentimes a lot of engineers try to avoid touching the legacy code because they're afraid to break things. Maybe it will be a good idea to own it, break it down, add testings, document everything, and turn that chaos into something that's stable and understandable. Or it could also be like leading a architecture or maybe even system design decisions. Now, typically engineers just follow the defaults and usually don't question about the current tech stack. But it will be very impactful if we were to think outside of the box, do research, explore new frameworks or tools, and be able to lay out the trade-offs and be able to advocate the team for a smarter design decisions. And the reason why it's so impactful because these decisions leads to a faster performance, cost saving, and much more smoother development experience. So the point is this: doing more doesn't always mean that you're doing better. And it's about focusing on the work that actually drives impact. Once I would start focus on the high impact projects or problems, I start to learn faster and hit my next level expectation, got promoted sooner, and built a reputation as someone who makes greater impacts in the company. Now, the next lesson I want to share with you is about documenting your impact. Now, just like what we talked about earlier, how we should focus on high impact work, this one is about making sure we actually remember and capture those wins. Think of it as building your personal achievements for your career growth. And back when I was early in my career, I remember trying to write my performance review and feeling completely lost because I had to dig through old pull requests, tickets, and even Slack conversations just to remember what I have worked on that year. And it was painful. And that's when I thought, what if I can just keep a simple journal, one that can track the high impactful things that I have worked on throughout that year. Things like helping another team solving a tough problem, or fixing a high priority production bug, or waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning to handle a critical on-call issue. All of that hard work already happened, but if we don't write it down, we're going to forget it. And more importantly, your manager won't see the full picture either. And that makes it very hard for them to fairly evaluate your performance, especially if you're aiming for your next level. So here's what I do, which is very simple. I keep a running document, some people call it a work journal, and every time when I do something impactful, I just write those 4 things down. When did it happen? What I did? Who was involved? And what impact does it make? And that's it. You don't need to write an essay, just short, to the point, something that your future self will be thankful when it's time for you to write your performance review, put together a promotional package, update your resume, or even preparing for a future interviews. Now, honestly, this habit has saved me so much time and stress, and it also helped me to show up with confidence when I need to advocate for myself. So yeah, document your impact, and you have already done the hard work. Just make sure that it's not forgotten. So the next lesson that I learned is about having a game plan for a promotion and career. And the reason why I say this is because throughout my career, without a promotion plan or a career growth plan, we're just wandering around, just waiting magically to have someone will eventually tap on our shoulder and say that, hey, it's time for your promotion. But it doesn't work that way, because promotions or career growth isn't automatic. It's very structured and it requires you to be active to demonstrate those levels. So that's why early on in my career, I was able to realize this and treated this promotion like a project, something that I can actually plan, track, and design a path for it. So that's what I started doing. First, I look up the actual promotional rubric for my current level, and I want to know exactly what does my current level, for example, L5, L6, L7, what does it actually do? And in terms of behavior, leadership, ownership, and impact. Things like what kind of impactful projects do I need to own for this level, and what kind of level of leaderships do I need to perform on that level. Then I ask myself honestly, and am I showing these things right now, right? If not, then what would I need to do to get there? So I start to work backwards and figure out step by step on what I need to do to achieve this. Follow the previous lesson that I mentioned about focusing on the high impactful things that are related to my current level, as well as focus on writing things down, documenting my achievements, and then for every quarter, I can be able to look back and be able to reflect on what kind of impactful projects that I have led, what kind of influence that I have for the team or even across teams. And most importantly, I make sure that I did not work in silent, and I was able to share the documents or design docs with the teams and be able to demo the features that I built or even projects that I have led. And I even want to make sure that I was able to take the chance to mentor new developers so that my scope grew naturally. And that's what I realized at the end, is that I was able to shift myself from just waiting passively from manager, from peers to give me instructions or feedback. I was able to take the control behind the wheel about my career growth. And I was able to take those actions and be able to have a game plan on how I can be able to achieve my next target level. And I have a much clearer conversation with my manager. I got even better feedbacks. And when it comes to time to make a case for promotions, the story was already written. Now, my advice is this. If you feel stuck, just ask yourself, do I actually know what the next level looks like? And can I show evidence that I'm already operating at that level? And also, does anyone outside of my team know what I have done? If the answer is not really, and that's going to be a really good starting point. All right, so far I talked about focusing on high impactful work, not just shipping tasks or features to the production, and also documenting your wins, because memories fade away and we need to document those achievements, and also having a clear career plan that you can actually review and adjust over time, which are very critical. But here's one thing that I don't think enough people talk about, which is about building trust and credibilities at work. Now, during the time when I was working in Amazon, I was shifted to multiple teams due to reorg and leadership decisions. So when I came to a new team in a new environment, new faces, no one on team knew who I was. All the promotional packets or credibilities that I earned from the previous team, I have to rebuild those things in this new environment. Because here's the thing, promotion isn't about what you did, but it's also about who's willing to vouch for you for the impact that you made. Because the higher you go, the more your promotion is based on consensus. So I asked myself this question. If someone else wrote my promotional packet, will they have enough context to vouch for me? And if the answer is no, then obviously we need to put in more work to resolve this. And this is where trust and visibility really comes into play. And if you haven't already, I have made a whole separate video breaking down exactly how to earn trust and credibilities at work. And I will put a link for this video down below, and this video pairs perfectly with this lesson. But in short, and here's what I started to do differently to build trust in this new environment. I started to introduce myself to the teams, pulled in senior engineers to review my design docs and architectures write-ups, not just for approval, but also for feedbacks. I also step into the team's meeting discussion, not just to speak, but also to listen, clarify, and also lead when I need it. And also build real relationships with people that could later become endorsers, not in a fake way, but through real collaborations, team meetings, and one-on-one sessions. And by the way, if you found yourself having less interactions or meetings with your teammates because everyone was working on their own things or own projects, then I will highly recommend to book a one-on-one session on their calendar to get to know them, maybe bi-weekly or monthly, to exchange information, get to know them a bit more about what they worked on and what kind of things that I can do to offer help. And the goal here isn't in politics. It's about making impact visible in your team and organization so that when the promo seasons rolls around, your name means something to more than one person in the room. So yeah, build trust, build visibility, build repetitions in your work, and that's the lesson 4. Alright, so those are the 4 key lessons that helped me get promoted several times throughout my career, even during reorgs, layoffs, and one of the most uncertain job markets in recent years. And here's why those 4 things matter so much. Focusing on high impactful work, making sure that you are solving the right problems, not just staying busy. Documenting your wins means that your growth doesn't get forgotten by you or your manager. Also having a career plan where you can be able to review and adjust keeps you moving forward, not stuck and waiting. And building trust and visibility across your organization that will make sure that your work carries weight when it's time for your promotion. Now, if you're feeling like you need some more help building that plan, or if you want to talk through your situation, I offer one-on-one career coaching sessions, which is paid 1-hour session where we can be able to review your promotion readiness, craft or refine your impact narratives, build a clear action plan for your next level, whether that's for junior, mid-level, senior, or beyond. I will drop the link in the description below. So don't wait for the next rework or promo cycle to get serious about your growth. Take that first step now, be intentional about that, and if this video helped, please drop a comment, share it with someone who needs it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.